Hello, Commanders, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous Return from Beagle Point. Today's topic of discussion will be keeping your cool in stressful situations. But before we hop into that, I'd like to cover a couple of topics. First and foremost, if you haven't already, please be sure to check out the GoFundMe down in the link below to see the situation that went on there. My mom's... Oh. I don't remember how to... There we go. My mother-in-law's car got totaled by a hit and run, and we only had her on liability insurance because, you know, we just don't have a lot of money. So check out that GoFundMe if you are interested in helping out somebody get their car back. That would be really helpful, not just for her, but also for us, because we're having to lend her our car, and it's actually making things very difficult. The other thing we want to talk about is to welcome all of the new viewers who are just joining our journey right now. The purpose of this trip is to increase our exobiology rank to the elite status, as well as hopefully make enough money to buy a fleet carrier to take all of our ships back out into the black and do a number of different things, from exploring to mining and all that other stuff. We have a cycle of operations that we do when we hop into a system. You just saw us pop the discovery scanner and complete a fuel scooping operation. And then once we're done with that, if there are 15-ish or less bodies in the system, we will check for biological signatures. Most of the systems will also check for ammonia worlds, water worlds, and Earth-like worlds. You can see in the bottom right of the screen the names that are showing up there. We do have a water world here in the system, and also because there are 15 or less bodies, we will go ahead and individually scan all planets in the system looking for biological signatures. So let's go ahead and start swinging our way around here. We'll get this system scanned, and then we'll start talking about our subject for today. Here's our water world. We'll go ahead and target that so we can go put a planetary scan on it. Unfortunately, in the top right of the screen, you can see features there. There are no biological signatures here, so it's just going to be the water world for this system, but hopefully we'll get lucky in systems to come. Alright, so the topic of our discussion for today, as I said, is going to be keeping your cool in stressful situations. Now, I think especially in our society today, where most people haven't had to go through, at least most people, let me rephrase that. Most people in first world countries, such as the United States, don't really have to go through too many situations where you're having to go through seriously high stress situations. And by that I mean emergency situations. Obviously there are a lot of things that we do to ourselves that increase our stress levels and, you know, force us to have to work under pressure. But there's a very big difference between, you know, the perceived stress of wanting to be successful at something and having to meet a deadline and all of that stuff, versus a true emergency that pops up and something that you have to immediately deal with and deal with well, or it could have very dire consequences, like real dire consequences, other than just, oh, it didn't work out the way I wanted. So if you watched my last episode, you know that I had a stupid moment where I was carrying something and in a way that didn't allow me to see what was in front of me. And as I was trying to load it into my truck, I was walking over to my truck and walked full speed into a rusty fire pit in the space that my RV is sitting in. I do live in my RV full-time, my travel trailer full-time with my wife, and we had just gotten back from a brief vacation because she works very hard and she definitely earned it. But as I was walking to go put some cushions back into the truck where I store them, we had emptied it out because we knew that we were going to be parking our trailer for parking my truck with a big camper shell for several days in a public parking. It was paid, but it was still an open to the public parking area kind of thing. And, you know, I wanted to minimize the chances of, you know, theft becoming a problem. So, we emptied several things out of the back of the truck just to make it less tempting to thieves. And obviously, once we got back, we had to reload that stuff back into the back of my truck. So that's why I was loading things. So the problem is that I parked my truck further back into the space than I normally do. And unfortunately, that put the fire pit right in the path between the door of my trailer and the back of my truck. And I wasn't like rushing or anything. I wasn't in a hurry. I definitely was not in a hurry. I just wasn't paying attention. And I'm used to being able to just walk over to my truck. It's usually not a problem. So I ended up not being able to see, walked full speed into this rusty fire pit, tripped over it, and sliced a very deep slice into my left foot, which realistically should have had stitches, but I haven't had medical insurance since I left the Marine Corps back in 2013. So yeah, that wasn't really something that was feasible based on our current situation. Here in the United States, a lot of us go without medical insurance because it's so exorbitantly expensive. So yeah, if you're living abroad and you're listening to this and you're like, well, why didn't you just go to the doctor? I would have if I had gone to the emergency room, that would have been a minimum $2,000 to $3,000 visit, even if I drove myself without an ambulance. That's just kind of the way it works here. But anyways, the reason I'm telling this story again is because it pertains to this topic of today of, keeping your cool in a stressful situation. Well, obviously, knowing that, we didn't really have the money for me to go to the doctor and have this situation taken care of, you know what? There's way too many bodies in the system. We're going to go ahead. And it's also distracting me from talking. Knowing that we didn't have the money to take care of this situation. I mean, I could have gone to the emergency room and they would have treated me, but then I would have received a very expensive bill in the mail, and I would have been expected to pay that, one way or another. There is no emergency room forgiveness unless you are like super, super poor and destitute, and they know they're never going to get their money from you. And I'm not technically in that situation, but I didn't want to deal with any of that. So the decision was we were going to try to take care of it ourselves, forego the stitches, and just do our best to figure out a way to hold the wound together long enough for it to start to heal and, work itself out. Now, fortunately, I have had basic first aid training as far as, having been in the military and all of that. They teach you basic wound care and things like that. So I had a vague idea of what to do, in addition to just, general knowledge that I've gathered over my, more than 4 decades of existence. You don't exist this long without having learned some things. But I will say that, age isn't everything. There's a lot of people who live and, there's a lot of people a lot older than me who have a lot less maturity than I do, a lot less knowledge than I do, and there's other people in that same situation who have more. Everybody's just a little bit different. I think we make a way too big of a deal about age. Some people are just better at doing things than others. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make, or the direction that I'm trying to go is that most people, I think, in situations like that usually end up panicking and just making decisions based off of how they're feeling in the moment, and that's almost always a recipe for disaster. And that's one of the big problems that we have in the world today in general. I'm not, take nations and all that stuff out of it. Just in general, too many people are making decisions based off of how they feel or from a selfish motive. And that's just, it's really unfortunate that that's the way that things kind of end up going. So it's important when you find yourself in a situation that has serious, or could have serious consequences, to, figure out what your end goal is and then start making decisions that move you towards that. So obviously in my situation, my end goal was to not, have a serious problem with my foot, because, the last thing I need is to bleed out, number one. Obviously, I don't think that was really that big of a danger. I didn't hit a vein or anything. But, the other thing was just to not put to do my best to try to avoid putting myself in a situation where I was going to owe lots of money over a stupid half a second lapse in judgment. I think we're just going to go ahead and take off. There were no biological signatures on any of the other ones, and it's unlikely that we were going to find one there. The other part of it was just, like I said, trying to avoid ending up several thousand more dollars in debt than I already am over, a minute of not paying attention, like 10 seconds of not paying attention. So one of the things that I try to do, I don't like going to the doctor in the first place. I generally try to avoid it wherever possible. I try to avoid taking medicine wherever possible, not because I have a problem with medicine, and you know, I'm fully vaccinated against most things. There are certain things that I will not get the vaccine for. You can decide for yourself what that is. And I have my own reasons for it. Some people will agree and some people won't, and that's the beauty of freedom. You're able to decide whether you agree, and we can all disagree. It's fine. Anyways, I try to stay away from political topics here on this channel, but sometimes they creep in because that's just kind of how it goes when you're babbling about stuff. So I was trying to avoid having some kind of permanent injury, and when you have a relatively serious wound that could have some serious problems if not properly tended to, you have to make sure that you're calm and collected and making good decisions about what it is that you're going to do moving forward. So obviously the first thing was to make sure that all of it was cleaned as well as we could, make sure that we got some disinfectant in the wound, and make sure that we dried it up as best we could. It was deep enough that I needed to elevate my feet above my heart to slow the blood pumping. Only 3 bodies. I don't think there was another planet in here. So I did end up having to spend a significant amount of time on the floor with my legs raised up above my heart to make sure to reduce the blood pressure up at my foot to slow the bleeding down. It did take quite a while to get my wound to stop bleeding and to start knitting itself up. But we did, we calmed down. My wife was, for her, she was very calm. She was very chill. She handled the situation very well. She is Latina, and she's also on the end of the spectrum of Latina women who gets very excitable about things. So, I think that my level of calm helped her to maintain a level of calm. She wanted to take me to the emergency room regardless of the cost, because she loves me and she wants to make sure that everything's going to be okay. So it was kind of my decision to resist the pressure that she was exerting to try to do that, when I knew that this was 4 biological signatures and it's only 1,000 light seconds away. We're definitely going after that guy. Okay, so it was up to me as the cool and forward-thinking person to make sure I resisted her desire to make sure that the wound was taken care of in the traditional way, and try to do my best to make sure that we were thinking about the big picture and not just the fact that, oh crap, we have a situation here. So we got the wound more or less emergency taken care of. We got it covered. We got it covered up. Did the whole apply pressure until it stopped bleeding thing, and then just tried to keep it relatively elevated the rest of the night because it helped with keeping the bleeding from becoming a major deal. And then after that, it was just a matter of keeping it clean, keeping it covered for the rest of that night, just to make sure that no stray debris or anything got into the wound. And then the next day we checked it. It seemed like it was getting better. It was closing up, and we left it open the rest of the day and aired it out. And I actually went to work today, and I had to walk around a lot, but it seemed like it went pretty well, and the wound is looking pretty good right now. So obviously, all of the things that I've learned over the years when it comes to wound care seem to have worked out pretty well. We were very careful to make sure that, I'm not overly germophobic. I'm one of those people who believes that one of the reasons why we have the epidemic of disease that we have now is that we have sterilized our society too much. I don't advocate that people go around being dirty all the time. We need to be clean. But at the same time, if you're not exposed to things that force your immune system to become stronger, then, you're going to pay for that later one way or another. You're going to suffer with disease one way or another. Better to get it out of the way and make your body stronger than to avoid it completely. And then when it finally does come, something relatively weak takes you out. So that's my philosophy on that. Take it or leave it. Anyways, so like I said, the reason I went through that whole story is it kind of illustrates the idea that it is very important to maintain your cool as best you can when, relatively emergency situations present themselves to you, because you can generally end up with a much better result if you chill out and just make good decisions from the information that you have available to you at the time. Now, obviously, that situation could have gone really bad, but I was relatively sure that the wound wasn't so bad that it wasn't something that we couldn't take care of ourselves. Concha and Fungoida. I'm actually not seeing any... Okay, well, Tussock seems to be mostly everywhere, so we'll leave it on the Concha here, and then we'll see what we come up with. I was relatively sure that the wound wasn't bad enough that it required medical attention. The wound was definitely bad enough that, you know, a doctor probably would have said that it needed stitches, and it probably did. But, you know, my thought process on that is that human beings went for thousands of years cutting themselves deep enough that it would be a good idea to have stitches, but they made it work, and, you know, it mostly healed fine. Now, I'm sure that because I didn't get stitches and all of that, I'm probably going to end up with a worse scar than if I had actually gone to a doctor and had it professionally treated. Obviously, you want a professional dealing with things whenever possible, but you know, like I said, in our country, medical assistance is more of a luxury than it is a right. And you know, I'll leave the political decision of whether that's right or wrong to you. That's I'm staying out of that discussion. So, anyways, like I said, that's kind of the story for this episode. You know, and it's mostly intended to hopefully be a, you know, little lame inspirational story. I know it's not that big of a situation, but, you know, inspiration to anybody who may be listening to this story to, you know, let you know, hey, you should be trying to do your best to maintain a cool head when stressful things start happening, because you're going to get a much better result if you chill out and approach things with a calm mindset. Now, obviously, that's something that virtually everybody understands, and I don't necessarily need to explain that, but human beings are very story-driven people, and sometimes hearing a story about a situation that you know already will cement it in your mind and help you to, you know, kind of apply it better in your own life, because that's just kind of the way we are. There's a reason why we love movies and all of that stuff, and it's because we are extremely story-driven. I think my throttle was all full. I was like, why am I not slowing down? Okay, so let's see if we can find some of this concha. Okay, so we have something here, but I don't think we're going to be able to land over here, so... Oh. So the question becomes, is there anywhere to land nearby? Maybe over here? I don't know. That looks like the tussock. I'm guessing we're still inside of a crater, which is why it won't let me land, because we're on a very steep angle, I guess. Okay, well... Here? Alright, well, for those of you who are always looking for SRV time, here we go. I don't generally mess with the SRV very much, but... might as well, I guess.
warning.
Oh, you know what? I have my pedals installed. Maybe I can get a better control scheme for that. Let's see. Let's see. Drive throttle. Can I? Is there a reverse? Oh, wait. Hold on a second. Oh, but wait. Hold on. That's the x-axis, y-axis. Okay. So we'll do that. We'll do forward only, I guess. I wish that there was... Oh, wait, hold on. Accelerate axis. Decelerate axis. There we go. Okay, hold on. I think there's some inversion happening right now that we need to fix. Hmm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. And then the problem that we're going to have now... Alright, so is this going to back up? Or is this just to stop? Okay, that's just to stop. Oh. Well, that's stupid. The throttle axis that they have here, this accelerate axis and decelerate axis, doesn't act like a joystick. That's so annoying. Okay, so we'll do that then. Then we'll cancel that. Forward only, and then my reverse, there's a reverse button somewhere on here. But I don't know what it is. Miscellaneous, maybe? Of course not. Okay. Oh, here we go. Driving only for reverse button. Where do I want this to be? I guess that one? I'm not sure. Okay. Well, at least now it's acting like a joystick. So now the problem that I have is that all of this other stuff that I've been doing has confused me, and I don't know what direction the concha that I was looking at was. I want to say it was down this way, but the problem is that I don't want to get stuck on the hills down here, so I'm a little bit concerned. Okay, well, I mean, I guess we can grab these guys here.
Drive assist off.
Alright, so we'll grab this sample here. And we'll hop back into our SRV. Drive around for a minute. I have to imagine the ship is probably going to take off on its own here in a little bit. I don't have very much experience driving the SRV and dealing with biology, so I don't really know what to look for when it comes to little radar signatures.
Drive assist off.
Let's grab this here, and then we'll try to find one more. Oh, our ship's right over there. Gotta actually drive far enough away for it to fly off on its own. Alright, let's keep going this direction. Let's see if maybe we can find a Whoop. Okay, hold on. We need to, since I have that set up, I do need to set the stick up so that I can control my orientation when we're in the air. So steering left and steering right. Oh, wait. Steering axis, that one. Roll axis is that one. Pitch axis is that one. Yeah, we're correct. Okay. It didn't seem to be responding when I was in the air, so that was confusing. Trying to make sure that I don't cause any damage wherever possible. All right, come on. All right.
Drive assist
Okay,
off.
sometimes the throttle gets stuck in a certain way. I'm not sure why. Oh, okay. Okay. I think what we'll do is we'll grab this and then we'll head back to the ship. Or, you know what? Maybe we'll just hang out here. Where is the ship? Did it fly away? Huh. Okay, our ship's up there. You know, I think we always go back to the ship, but I think this time what we'll do is... Oh, that's why. I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just call it here. We don't really have enough time to find the rest of the items here, and I've run out of stuff to talk about. So we'll go ahead and stop. Hopefully you guys had lots of fun. Be sure to click that like button if you did so that the YouTube algorithm will know and send the video out to as many people as possible. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so now so that when the next video comes out, it will show up in your feed and you will be able to watch it as soon as it becomes available. Channel members do get early access to all of my content, so be sure to click that join button, check out the list of options available there, and decide if any of those are right for you. Excuse me. If you're not interested in a channel membership, you can always leave YouTube's version of a tip with the thanks button. Direct contributions such as these are greatly appreciated and a critical component to helping to turn this channel into a full-time gig, which is the dream. So again, thank you very much for your time. Hope you guys are enjoying the journey. Be sure to come back for the next one, and I'll see you then.